start off, busting out the big guns. Lee Young-ho coming out. But first, the Air Force Ace player. And he is very interesting. He is StarDust, aka M18M. And he is one of the few people with a winning record against Flash. But not only does he have a winning record against Flash, but he's actually 100% win rate versus the God Terran. StarDust, this guy right here that you see on screen, is exactly 2-0 lifetime against Flash. That's right. 2 wins, 0 losses. He has never lost to Flash. So let us see if Flash can actually break that curse today, or if StarDust will maintain his perfect win rate against Flash. I mean, it's so random too. Like, you just look at this guy, you're like, what? What's his name? StarDust? StarDust? You kidding me? Like the Terminator, the ultimate weapon, has a 0% win rate against some guy called StarDust. Like, it actually doesn't make sense. But what do you know? I mean, maybe that's Flash's weakness, like people with ridiculous names. Anyways, yeah, it's gonna be Ace versus KT. Now Ace, on opening day they played against Samsung Khan, and spoiler alert, I believe they lost 4-1 or something like that. It sounds about right. I'm gonna say they lost 4-1. I remember Jangbi, I think, played in set 5 and took it for them, so I think that's right. Anyway, KT on the other hand, played against Team 8. Did they? No. No, they played against CJ. I'm sorry. No, of course they played against CJ because we saw Flash versus Effort. Yeah, they played against CJ, and Flash did not show. Well, all right. He didn't show like the most impressive StarCraft 2, but you know what you do. People are saying spoilers, but opening day was 2 days ago, and in my opinion, like 2 days when you're following Pro League is Oh, people are actually talking about something else. Ooh, I'm actually gonna ban and unban you, sir, just so it deletes your message. So you're unbanned right now, but people can't see what you wrote in case they missed it. Anyway, it looks like StarDust can spawn here at the bottom left as a red Protoss, and at the top right, Flash will be spawning as the TL Terran. So now we get to see him play a game that he is hopefully more proficient at than StarCraft 2. I dare say he is in fact more proficient at Brood War. So yeah, this should be quite interesting. The map is Sniper Ridge, or Neo Sniper Ridge, I should say. Although I don't think the changes affect this matchup too much. I think most of the changes on these maps, as I said yesterday, are directed or are geared towards Zerg players. And since we are lacking in the Zerg department in this game, then it shouldn't really make a difference. Although, I mean, there is an extra ramp leading to your third, so maybe you can do some kind of weird Vulture runarounds or something. I doubt it's going to really do anything. Anyway, this guy's apparently a Flash fan. Is that actually English on the bottom there? It's a little bit small, I can't read it. Whoever you are, if you're listening to this, could you actually write in bigger letters? I just couldn't read that. It said like Brood War and Star 2 or something like that. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, looks like a barracks at the natural here leads me to believe it's going to be a 1-rack expand. Yeah, no gas taken yet for Flash. That supply depot, by the way, is not just a random placement. Oh, hold that thought, though. It's going to be Nexus first here from StarDust. I'll talk about that in a second. First, that supply depot, I want to note, that is purposefully placed in that location because it makes SCV mining slightly more efficient from the bottom mineral patches, because Brood War pathing is absolutely atrocious. When you spawn in that, or when you have mineral formations like that, like where Flash is spawned, the bottom SCVs actually like take a roundabout route to the command center. So if you put the depot there, it makes them mine a little bit more quickly. Just a little tidbit. Anyway, so it's going to be a 1-rack expand versus a 12 next. This is going to be basically super nice for StarDust, the Protoss player here. It's basically a small build order advantage here. Not a huge one, but definitely a small build order advantage, especially with them being cross map. Really zero way for Flash to punish this. Looks like Flash actually sent a scouting SCV out first, so he's going to get into StarDust space a little bit earlier. Of course, both players scouting each other second, since they are spawning cross map. Excuse me. So, interestingly, it looks like the second pylon was actually built at the front there to kind of semi-wall in that Nexus. That feels a little bit risky to me, considering if Flash actually was in close positions and had done a more like a factory first build, he could actually bunker rush the Nexus and also get a free pylon, which seems like more well, it would just be terrible, because not only would he lose a Nexus, but then StarDust would get supply blocked and not be able to build units and probably just die straight up. But I mean, it's not gonna happen in this game. First Zealot is out. Very standard to get a Zealot first when you go for a 12 Nex, although not when you go for a Gateway first build in PvT. Looks like the core is about to finish here. Gonna start up a Dragoon ASAPly after that. And looks like he's gonna actually go and attack with this Zealot. There are 4 Marines there, so that's really not gonna do anything. Especially with Flash's level control, it's very unlikely that he'll even lose a single Marine here. And he's also got a bunker up too, in case of emergency. Anyway, second gateway going up here, I'd expect a robotics facility soon as well for observers. Potentially the Reavers, but not necessary in this case. I mean, he's already got the builder advantage. He doesn't need to do any fancy harassment or anything. Now, there is one Zealot blocking the ramp here. That's very interesting. So the SCV does see the Nexus. So obviously Flash knows that he's gone for the 12 Nexus. But then he doesn't know what the follow-up is. So he doesn't know if it's maybe some kind of weird, cheesy DT rush follow-up or some 2-base Arbiter play. Yeah, we shall see here. Looks like 2 factories going up in the main base of Flash. Very standard stuff. So hopefully we do get to see a fairly long game here. Now, in StarDust's previous 2 encounters with Flash, of course he did win both of them, but I only saw the second one, which was when they played each other towards the end of Season 1 of Pro League, where they played a game on Electric Circuit, and StarDust actually cheesed Flash. Flash went for a very greedy 3 command center, like fast third base on that map because there is a protected back expansion, and StarDust just like proxied 3 gateways on a robo and busted him. So that was quite an entertaining game to watch, but you know, it was kind of an all-in, kind of a cheesy build, and Flash was playing greedy, so he got punished. I'm really not sure if StarDust can actually, you know, hold up to Flash in a long game where his mechanics are pushed to the limit. And it looks like we have a Stargate on the way here now. I don't know if this is for Templar or if he's actually going for 2-base carriers here. 2-base carrier would be very interesting. As far as I know, all instances... Yeah, it's definitely 2-base carrier. The Cybernetics... Oh! No, I'm sorry. That was actually Dragoon range. I saw the Cybernetics core spinning. I thought that was +1 arrow weapons, but actually his Dragoon range had only just finished. So actually it's still unclear, but I do believe it's going to be... 2-base carriers, because I actually didn't see a Citadel in the base yet, and you do need a Templar Archives in order to go for Arbiters. Yep, so there's a Fleet Beacon, there's the second Stargate. It is going to be a 2-base carrier build. I'm not sure how I like this. I mean, we've seen fast carriers a few times on this map. Actually, the SKT Protosses seemed to like this a lot last season, and they kept getting demolished. So yeah, I'm not really sure if it's the best map for it. I mean, you want to go for fast carriers on maps with like lots of terrain features all over the place, so it's very difficult for the Terrans to engage you with Goliaths. But hold that thought, looks like he's just going for a very aggressive attack here on the bunker. Flash actually made a bunch of Vultures first and no Siege Tank, so he's taken a number of SCV kills, but now he's bringing his Vultures back, laying Spider Mines around the Dragoons. Nice micro from StarDust, and actually this ramp, I said it wouldn't make a difference in this matchup, but that ramp actually just saved him those 4 Dragoons. In the original version of this map, that ramp did not exist, in which case StarDust would have been backed into a corner and probably actually have lost all 4 of those Dragoons to Spider Mines. As it is, he is completely fine. I don't even know if he lost a single unit there in that attack. He's basically getting a few SCV kills for free. He's basically walled himself in here at his natural. He's using a couple of Dragoons to block that off, so he's going to be fine against this Vulture attack. Although the thing is, having gone for these super fast carriers, he does not actually have any observers yet. When you go for a 2-base carrier like this, you do skip the Robo, because of course it is quite gas heavy. The robotics facility does cost 200 gas, and you need that gas for your carrier tech, which is also very expensive, gas heavy, so you do have to do that quite a bit. As we can see, he's just now getting the Robo. So basically, his units are now trapped on the map. He cannot bring those Dragoons home, and he can't send any more Dragoons out, because there's Spider Mines on the map, and he just cannot see them. If he just tries to walk over them with such a low unit count, or even a higher unit count, really, he would just get owned. And it looks like he's actually trying to lead with 1 Dragoon to allow the rest of the Dragoons through. I mean, this is just so dangerous for him. He should not be walking around like this. I think he's just going to lose those eventually if he keeps doing that. And actually, it looks like the Vultures are just going to go kill it. Yeah, it looks like, see, he just instantly lost them. I mean, there really wasn't anything he could do about it just because of the builds. I'm a little bit curious why he decided to go for such an aggressive attack in the early game with his ground forces, because when you go for 2-base carrier, you're cutting your ground forces and you're not getting obs. Like, this situation was almost inevitable. I mean, I'm just a little bit confused by his choices there, but I guess we'll see what happens. Flash, in the meantime, has already got his third command center up and floated out to the 3 o'clock base, his third base. So StarDust definitely going to have to do some serious damage with these carriers, but he should not be revealing these. He should absolutely not be showing these carriers right now. What is he doing? I have no idea what StarDust is thinking right now. You should not be revealing your first 2 carriers. Now Flash knows exactly what is going on. What you're supposed to do when you go for fast carriers is you wait until you have 4 carriers before revealing, at least 4. 4 is generally considered the magic number of carriers because I believe that's the number you need to one-shot a Goliath. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, actually. I'm fairly certain that's right. Bleh. Anyway, yeah, the carriers are out now, and they've been revealed. So, I mean, you know, they have to go all the way across the map, and there's not that many. I mean, as you can see, the first Goliath is already out. It's just, I'm just so sad. I'm so baffled about why he's revealed these already. On the other hand, I mean, Flash would probably have been a little bit suspicious, given how late the observers were and, you know, how few ground units he saw. He would have suspected something, but it's still better to keep him in the dark. And in the meantime, looks like Flash sending in 4 Vultures here to snipe the probe that was going to make StarDust's third base. So StarDust's third getting delayed a little bit there, very, very nice. And what that also does is it's keeping the carriers at home, as you can see. You know, StarDust wanted to go out and attack with these, but oh man, nice scan there, sniping the observer. But yeah, because of the slow observer there, you know, the Dragoons couldn't move out to defend the expansion, so he used the carriers to defend it instead. But the carriers really aren't going to stop Vultures like that. It's just this is not working out for StarDust. I mean, his third base is way slower than Flash. His carriers haven't done any damage, and Flash is well prepared for them now. He's going to be massing a ton of Goliaths. You know, it's cross-map positions, so it's already not ideal for carriers. He's going to have to fly all the way across. I just don't really. I don't want to say StarDust has lost this game, but he's in a very tough spot right now. And looks like Flash is actually being extremely aggressive here, just going in with his Goliaths and Vultures. Going to try and attack this base. He's going to be very careful though. Dragoon's pretty good against Vultures and Goliaths. He's going to need a couple of siege tanks to support those. I mean, you know, even though the Goliaths are fantastic against carriers, those Dragoons will just tear them apart. So yeah, looks like Flash is going to run away here. Flash being, I think, uncharacteristically aggressive there. Usually he's more of a, you know, turtle up and macro up kind of player. I mean, I really think it's actually better to just, you know, use a few Vultures to harass here and there rather than go out with a Goliath force. But you know, Flash is Flash. I will trust in his judgment. In the meantime, something's up at the 12. I don't think it's a command center though. I'm pretty sure it's just some other floating building. Although it actually looks like in position to be a command center. That'd be very interesting. Anyway, taking a Spider-Man hit on those Dragoons. Not ideal. Looks like he's actually just going across the map with his Dragoon carrier force. But there's plenty of siege tanks now defending Flash's base, so I mean that's just not going to do anything. And it looks like a +1 attack is already done for Flash's mech army here. Looks like a nice comsat. Seeing the army, a couple of random Marines actually just walking across the map. It's going to kill a random interceptor. I don't know. It looks like maybe not. 3 Marines versus a carrier. I do not envy those Marines. I would actually not want to be those Marines. It looks like one guy escapes for his life here. That was kind of random, kind of funny. I'm a little bit surprised he wasted those actually. I would have thought he would send one to like each one to a different expansion just to scout and make sure StarDust wasn't taking any hidden expansions or something like that. I mean, there's no point just attack moving them to your opponent's natural. It's not going to do anything. Anyway, looks like a few Goliaths can get caught here by Dragoons, but I do hear some tanks sieging up, so I don't think those Dragoons should pursue too far. And it looks like they're not. The carrier's going to try and do some harassment, but plenty of Goliaths and turrets here. Look at Flash's massing turrets. There's actually some very funny screenshots of some Flash games where he just makes a trillion turrets. It was actually kind of like a bit of a meme going on TL for a while after, I actually can't remember what the game was, but Flash literally made just like, you know, 100 turrets in one game, and it was quite funny to see. Anyway, so unfortunately for StarDust, these carriers really not doing too much, and I mean, carriers are still good. You know, even if he's not doing any damage, he is massing up a large number of carriers. I mean, look at how many interceptors there are. So, you know, carriers, I mean, they're carriers, man. I mean, there's an Idra meme based on carriers. I mean, they gotta be good, right? But uh-oh, you cannot commit over open ground like this. Gotta be a little bit careful here. Although it looks like he is doing a good job picking off these Goliaths here, targeting them down individually. As you can see, the carriers all focus firing individual Goliaths. Look like a couple of Goliaths wandering too close to the Dragoons as well. I like this move by StarDust to hold position the Dragoons out of range of the siege tanks, but close enough so that if the Goliaths try to move forward and snipe the carriers, they'll get shot by the Dragoons. Because if you don't have that Dragoon back up there, and the carriers just go in by themselves, the Goliaths can easily just run underneath the carriers and just snipe them. It's very similar to in StarCraft 2 against Zerg when he goes mass Broodlords, and you have like blink stalkers. You want to like blink underneath the Broodlords to shoot them down. It's a very similar principle where you want the Goliaths to just run underneath the carriers and start targeting them down rather than shooting the interceptors. But anyway, it looks like some more fancy engagements here, but he's losing a lot of carriers, interceptors rather, so he can't really continue. Meanwhile, he has taken the top left base as his fourth, and this is actually very good. So if that actually gets up, then he'll be on 4 base against Flash's 3, which is more or less where he wants to be. Protoss generally should be 1 expansion ahead at this point in the game. Except that, you know, he did go for fast carriers, so it's understandable that his fourth is a little bit later. But look at this, Flash's +2 is already done. His +2 attack is already finished, and that means those Goliaths are going to do an insane amount of damage. Of course, Goliaths get +4 damage per attack upgrade to their anti-air attack. So it's a huge damage boost. In the meantime, looks like a couple of Ultras going to scout out that the top left base has been taken. StarDust needs to be careful that he doesn't get his probe train intercepted when he transfers up there. It is going to be a fairly long transfer route. Meanwhile, Flash looks like he's gearing up for an attack here. Looks like he's got a random floating starport and science facility. I'm slightly surprised he's actually not making a science vessel there. I mean, you know, even though he doesn't have to worry about detection for the Arbiters or anything like that, a nice EMP on the carriers will take a huge chunk of their HP. I mean, carriers, I believe, have something like 300 shields each or something. Or wait, no, that sounds a bit too much. No, they can't have 300 shields each. That would just be ridiculous. No, but they do have a pretty high shield count, so if you can EMP that and get that off, that'll be quite nice for sniping them. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't know why I don't know the HP value of a carrier. Man, I'm so chobo. I'm sorry, guys. I'm pretty terrible at this. Anyway, a big attack going in here, and StarDust's ground army was actually completely out of position. He looks like he's actually going for a counterattack here. Might be going for a bit of a base trade. Very interesting decision by StarDust. Flash looks like he does not want a base trade, so he's actually just going to pull his units back. But his units are not sieged up. They're piecemeal, but it looks like a few Dragoons getting caught out. There's a random High Templar there. I hope it has Storm. When the Terran's unsieged like this, Storm's going to be great. Where are the carriers, though? I don't see the carriers anywhere. I'm really confused. Where on earth are the carriers? Just like 8 carriers just like fell into the Bermuda Triangle or something. They're literally just vanished. Did the carriers die, and I just didn't see it or something? Like, what is going on here? Looks like a nice storm went down on the tanks, and this counterattack is going to get crushed here, which is no surprise because where are the carriers? Where are they? Okay, there they are. What are they doing over there? I have no idea what they were doing over there, but I mean, now basically Flash got to pick this army apart piece by piece. He took out the ground force by itself, and now he engages the carriers by themselves, and you know, neither half is particularly good. I mean, StarDust's going to try and do some fancy carrier micro here, and he's doing a decent job of it, it looks like. But it's going to be very difficult to engage Flash's army now without that ground army support. Although he is picking off these Goliaths, a lot of SCVs, okay, I think they're just being transferred to the 12 o'clock. And actually, Flash's Goliath count is quite small now compared to the carrier count. Oh my goodness, he's losing a lot of these siege tanks actually, but no, looks like more Goliaths coming in from behind. StarDust looks like he's actually targeting down siege tanks now rather than Goliaths. Wants to get rid of those powerful ground units so that his own ground units, his Dragoons and Zealots, can do more damage, but he looks like he's doing another Zealot counter. I don't know if I agree with this. If you just run out with pure Zealots, they do get demolished by Spider Mines. Random Spider Mines going to just hit them, and since they tend to clump up a little bit more, they do take a lot of damage, but it looks like he's done a great job whittling down the tank count here. Mostly Goliaths left, but the Goliaths are now running under the carriers, and he doesn't have enough interceptors left. He's just taking the hits here. Oh my goodness, he was just not paying attention there for a little while. He let the Goliaths get underneath the carriers. It looks like he might lose a second carrier here as well. The random Zealots, I don't know where they're going now. There's so much going on now, I can't even orientate myself on the map. It looks like, no, the Zealots actually came home to help defend, and StarDust miraculously is holding off this attack. I can't believe it. Man, after he lost his ground army in that counterattack, I thought he'd be done here, but actually, Carriers are pretty good, although he's only got 5 left now, 4 left, and so few interceptors. He's got to be so careful. He's got to keep microing these carriers. I don't know why, but he just stopped microing them for a while, and he's taking so much damage. Zealots, High Templar coming in here. The Storm's going to do great against the Clumped Goliaths. One more carrier goes down. Only 3 carriers remaining. He no longer has that critical mass of carriers that he had before, but he has held off the attack. I don't know if that's going to be enough, though, because Flash has got his 4th base up at the 12 o'clock. He's got something at the bottom right. I imagine that's actually a command center as well. Yep, it is indeed a command center. So Flash is getting his 5th base up, and StarDust hasn't even started mining from his 4th. So, you know, even though StarDust, you know, held that like a champion, I do think he's still behind in this game. It's like trying to get the most out of his storms here, and actually doing a decent job storming those Goliaths, but with only 3 carriers left, I don't think he can hold on anymore. Flash's macro is just going to overpower him now. Flash having a almost a 30 supply lead, and just continuing to pump out Goliaths. And you know, even though Goliaths are generally not as cost effective against you know, Zealots and Dragoons and High Templar with Storms, they're still not bad. I mean, they have a ton of HP, 125 hit points each, and they have a decent range as well. Their ground attack is not terrible, so you know, they can still hold their own, at least in low numbers. Anyway, looks like more carriers coming out once again, but that is a ton of Goliaths. He actually really wants another good size storm here to help his units out. Looks like Dark Templar are going to go out, try and get some free shots off. And this is actually really nice. It's really nice to have a couple of Dark Templar actually running around underneath while you're microing your carriers, because a lot of times the Terran won't even notice. But oh, huge storm going down on the Goliath. That's what he needed to hold off his attack. But yeah, you see, the thing is, like, with all those interceptors flying around, it's very hard for the Terran to actually notice that this Dark Templar is attacking his units. You know, not only is there, you know, it's visually kind of impairing, but also just all those random noise, the attack sounds going off. It's hard to hear the DT as well, so you really have no indication that the Dark Templar is attacking your units, and it gets so much damage done. But unfortunately for StarDust, it looks like Flash is moving in here, gonna start getting some probe kills. A triple storm here, a magic boxed storm from StarDust, not a very common technique. But that is very interesting. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically, if your High Templar are in a magic box and you storm the same place, they don't actually all storm the exact same place. They will keep the storm spread out as well. It's in theory, it's a nice technique for spreading your storms, but in practice, it's extremely difficult. And unfortunately for StarDust, he's actually walled his Archons out of his own expansion here. So even though his DTs are doing some nice damage here, the Archons can't get in to help out, and he is going to lose his expansion, losing a number of probes in the process. I mean, Flash is just closing it out right here, just no mercy. He's at 134 supply against 56. I think it's going to be game over here. StarDust, unfortunately for him, is going to lose his perfect record against Flash. However, note that even if StarDust loses this game, he will still have a positive win rate against Flash. He'll be 2-1 after this game. And I'd say a 66% win against someone of Flash's caliber is pretty damn good anyway. So, yeah, looks like the last of the carriers are going to get focused down here, and he's probably just going to wait until he loses all these in GG. And there we go, GG from StarDust. Flash taking the game in emphatic fashion there. StarDust can't really believe it, but I mean, you know, did he really expect to go up 3-0 against someone like Flash? You can't really fault him for taking a loss there. But that does mean that KT is going to go up 1-0 against Air Force Ace here. This is the Brood War Best of 3, the first half of the series. Of course, following this, there will be StarCraft 2 Best of 3, and if needed, a StarCraft 2 Ace match. Alright, let's go on to the next game.